Hello, my friend. How are you this morning? It's a lovely morning. I am Protulia Xeta-Llouns, and this is Aliados Mexicas, or Mexican Allies, in the 12th day of the Trezene Crocodile. We're almost through with the Trezene. Today is 12, how could you say this? Dry herb or twisted herb. The herbs that grow in the floor. And it's twisted because it's dry. And it's twisted because something got it that way. Mallinali is the name of the dry herb. It's a Matlactliomome mallinali. Mallinali. Why is the herb dry? If yesterday was green and full of life and water, why is it that the herb dried? This is really sad in a way, but it's a normal cycle. This sign shows us, it appears that all the signs on the calendar are placed there randomly, but they are not. Yesterday we were reviewing the monkey, and the monkey has a way to survive that is through its grace and a good sense of humor, but too much sense of humor and laughs and just giving yourself to others can dry you. So maybe what dried the herb was too much laugh or too much optimism. Optimism is good just in this pit, but if there's too much optimism, it can happen something like what happens to the god that is sponsoring the 12th day every Trezene. I'm not gonna say the name again, especially because this name is the most difficult of all. You could make bets with this name if you know how to pronounce it, and then go to your drunk friends in a party and say, okay, if you can say it 3 times, I will give you $100, but they will never be able and you will win every time. Okay, but this is another thing. This guy, this god, he was a god that had a very bad reputation. Between the other gods, they actually hated him because he is so super optimistic that everybody hated him. He was like, oh no, it's too much. This guy, well, he was optimistic or pessimistic, but in an exaggerated way. Like, for example, if he saw one drop of water falling from the sky, he was like, oh no, the flood is coming. And if he saw just one ray of light, he was like, oh no, we're gonna have a dry land forever and all the crops will die. He was exaggerating everything. And so the other gods just hated him. But now that we are reviewing the Trezene of the basics, there is something very interesting about this god, and this is why he is a sponsor for the 12th day. After the 3 days of darkness of the Trezene, after the periods of darkness in our lives, it is necessary a lot of optimism, maybe even in an exaggerated way, because if you are like this low and you want to get here, you need, or here, you need to be this optimistic so you can then level to a normal situation. So what happens with Mallinali and this god and the basics? Well, one thing is in life that is basic is to balance everything, to balance the joy and the grace and the good sense of humor, and also the pessimism, the darkness and all. But also is necessary for life that we understand that even the driest of herbs has a purpose in this life, because there are 2 things that Mallinali reminds us. First is that it's just a cycle. How the mountains and the hills, they turn yellow when there are no rains. But then the rain comes again, and then everything is reborn. You only need water. And so when you see a dry herb, you mustn't feel sad about it. Or if you're going through a dry period in your life, well, you just have to accept that this is only a period and just hope for the rain. And the other thing that reminds us is that even if you're a dry herb, it was just your time. Maybe before you were green and full of life, or good for animals to eat. And then when you are dry, you are there for a different purpose. What is the purpose of the dry herb? It was a very, very dignified purpose, that it was made to make ceremonial brooms, the ones for sweeping the floor. And they had one basic purpose, that it was cleaning everything, cleaning the floor and also cleaning the bad energies. This is why brooms are always related to witches, because witches, which is the same old women who are wise, would use brooms to get rid of all the bad energies and the bad people. And my grandmothers used to put a broom behind the door to make bad visitors to leave the house, and it worked every time. This is no witchcraft. It's just, I don't know, it's ancient knowledge, I guess. And the other thing that the dry herb is good for is making up a fire, starting fire, a fire that is good for eating and nurturing. So what this has to do with life when we go into the state of dry herb? Well, maybe we are not yet gone, but life is telling us that we are going to live pretty soon, and it's part of life, living life. So like the say says, maybe you are not being pushed out the door, but they are certainly handling your hat, right? It's like, okay, you don't have to leave now, but you probably want to know that you are close to the end. So you have to accept this, and accept that your new function is just to serve in a way that it's both for cleaning and nurturing. And these two things are super, super important in life. Order and a good place to live and food are the basics, right? So, well, I think you got the point on Mallinali. That is a really beautiful sign, an ally, if you know how to look at it, just like everything else. So, well, thank you for listening today, and I hope you can spend the time with the people you love the most, and sweeping the floor and making some good meal. See you soon, and have a nice afternoon.